of it.
Speaker.
The Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Mr. Speaker, the milk has gone sour. Let's look at the facts of the Collins-Orovida saga. Orovida arranged a dinner in Beijing last year. They invited a senior and influential New Zealand government minister, Judith Collins. They invited a senior Chinese border official. This was not some spontaneous, last-minute, casual, brief encounter. This was an intentional business meeting. Now, the public is being asked to swallow that. This minister had nothing to do with Orovida's business. And Orovida's business is a matter of great consequence for her husband, a director of the company. Judith Collins kept this meeting under wraps, covertly, before going to China. She covered it up and omitted to mention it to the Prime Minister when the story broke. She left it out of her trip report. How very convenient it was for her to do that. What was actually happening was covering up her tracks, her connection to a business meeting that was about securing advantage and benefit for Orovida. This smells to high heaven. We have a Cabinet Office manual for a reason. It is to avoid the very situation that Minister Collins is now in. It's to protect the public from corrupt practice, but sensible ministers know it is also to protect them. Judith Collins has committed one of the most glaring examples of conflict of interest and breach of the Cabinet manual in recent New Zealand history. It does not get any more black and white. The irony is that she was, of course, over there officially to talk to this group in China, and it was all part of her report, the China Executive Leadership Academy, Pudong, and what was she talking about? A culture of openness and transparency. Quotes, "This law provides mechanisms for the public to find out what different branches of the government are doing." End of quotes. She goes on to say more. "We believe that this builds trust and confidence in our system." Now, if she or the Prime Minister had any actual sense of decency, they would ensure she was no longer a minister. The irony is that the ostensible reason for Judith Collins' official trip to China was to talk about probity and principle in government affairs and that speech. And when a minister flaunts and ignores the Cabinet manual, there must be consequences. The Prime Minister must take the ultimate responsibility for the failure of his minister. He should have asked his minister, where were the standards? Where was the care? Where was the integrity? Where was the probity? Where was the scrupulous attention to ethical standards? Because all were missing. John Key talked about there being a new standard under his leadership. Oh, how he loved to talk about that. Well, the only standard we have seen is a double standard. If you're Pansy Wong or Richard Worth, you're down the road. If you're Judith Collins, you're right as rain. Now, let's not beat about the bush here. The Prime Minister has been severely embarrassed by Judith Collins. He's been up on the 9th floor blushing away. But it begs the question, why hasn't he sacked her? What is he so afraid of, this handmaiden or milkmaid from Orovida? That's what she's been engaged in behind everybody's backs back in this country. Now, the big question is, in Parliament, what has Judith Collins got on John Key for him to be too scared to act? The Prime Minister looks weak. He looks out of touch. He's sitting on his hands while Orovida's milkmaid runs about making a laughing stock of him. So now Key must accept that this government is contaminated, infected with the taint and smell of corruption from Orovida's milkmaid. New Zealand First says this matter is not going to go away. New Zealand does not need ministers who serve themselves. It needs ministers who serve New Zealand. As for the attack that she made on me, let me just say this. Mike Williams, the former president of the Labour Party, made it very clear that their allegations about me were false, and he put it out all in the article. If they want to contest this, then why not go to the reports from the Privileges Committee? Remember, 3 drafts say if Winston Peters wins this petition, he becomes the Member of Parliament, and the pecuniary interest is that he gets an electorate member's salary. Accepting that is not the law. A successful petition would have been a by-election, so it was demonstrably false. I pointed it out to them, and they pulled that out and kept the same finding. And let me tell that Minister of the Adams, she's the last person to attack Winston Peters, because I know something about her land holdings and her association with the water supply of her part of the region. And it reeks of corruption. Reeks of it, and the public's going to hear more of that.
Order. The member's time has expired. Honourable Amy Adams.
Mr. Speaker, while other members are insisting on